What do I do?
You went to sleep?
I did. Throw water on it to wake it up.
You should be able, if you toggled the pad, maybe hit the power button up on the right.
There it is.
And your mask is upside down.
Thank you for telling me that. Fans laughing at me.
All right, you should be recording. Be live. Just a second. All right, our first order of business is to swear you all in as members of the Architectural Review Board. So I need all of you to stand up and raise your right hand,
I need to go as well now. No?
except for Mr.
Okay.
Schneider.
So real rude.
I'm going to say I, and then you're going to say your name, and then repeat after me, okay? I
Rochelle
I,
King,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
all the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as members of the Architectural Review Board
as members of the Architectural Review Board
for the town of Haymarket,
for the town of Haymarket,
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay, thank you.
Okay, and I will need you all to sign the bottom, and I'll give you a copy when you're all done.
Oh, bless you.
Bless you.
Excuse me.
Tell me 18 more times that it's a touch screen.
It's okay. I always do gentle reminders sometimes.
Yeah.
I think Marshawn's like,
What's that?
I
I,
remind you that it's a
Oh,
touch
do not
screen.
walk out of here with Emily's pen.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Okay.
Okay, Marshawn, I will let you lead us off as.
Okay. Thank you. I would like to call the July 22nd, 2020 Architectural Review Board meeting to order. We have remote participation with Ayush. And if you could do a roll call, please, Ms. Emily.
Larson,
here.
King,
Here.
Schneider,
Here.
Utz. Here. Oh, Carell. Hi. You hear me?
Yeah, yes, here.
Now that we've called to order, our next order of business would be the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of the
of
United States of America,
and
to
to
the
the republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands, one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
liberty and justice for all.
Thanks. Okay. Item 3 on our agenda is citizens' time. Any members of the gallery are welcome to come and address the Architectural Review Board.
Good evening. Ken Larson, 6752 Jefferson Street. I am not here as a citizen. I am here as the mayor, representing the mayor. I'm not here to comment on the agenda items. What I'm here for is I would like to welcome all the newcomers and to thank all of you for volunteering. As a mayor, I put together a little letter and a little certificate for your volunteerism for joining and would like to present them to you. Do I need to ask if I could approach the dais?
No, you can't.
Thank you.
Yeah, these would normally be mailed, but since I'm present, I thought I'd just hand them
Thank you.
Aw.
Nice gesture. Thank you. There you go.
And again, I would really wholeheartedly like to thank you guys for volunteering. Your effort is definitely appreciated for the town and the town staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lurston. Is there anyone else in the gallery that wishes to address the Architectural Review Board? Seeing none, then I will move to item 4 on the agenda, which is minute approval. Now, the fact that most of you were not here last month does not disqualify you from adopting the minutes, and not a necessity. We kind of need you to adopt them. The meetings are available online if you happen to review those meetings. If you have any comments, certainly feel free to make amendments. So first, I will make the motion to approve. I'll need a second for that. Then we'll open it up to discussion and any amendments that we could suggest. Once that's done, we'll take the vote. Did I say that correctly? Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, I will go ahead and I'll start the motion.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
I
sorry.
move to your fund. It's June 7th, July meeting?
This is June 17th meeting.
Okay. Because we're in July, sorry. Senior moment. Okay, I move that the Architectural Review Board approve the minutes of June 17th, 2020 as presented.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion or suggested amendments? Seeing none, if we'll go for a roll call vote, please.
Larson,
None.
King,
Aye?
Aye.
Schneider,
Aye?
Utz,
Aye.
Terrell.
Aye.
Great. So in the future, if there are amendments that come up, we can, two options, and I'm like, correct me if I'm wrong. Also with Kim as well, when the packet goes out, if there's changes to the minutes we'd like to suggest, we can present that to Kim or to Emily. They'll make them known as part of the presentation of either the packet or at the meeting. And we can decide to either incorporate those changes there or bring them back with the changes in the future. So, great. Next, in terms of item 5, agenda items, what I was going to suggest before we go into chairman appointment, I've not met several of you in person, so maybe a few seconds to introduce ourselves,
Sure.
and then we can go into a motion for the chairmanship. So I'll start off. My name is Marchant Schneider. Recently elected to the town council. I've been appointed as the Architecture Review Board liaison. I lived in the town since 2004. By profession, I'm a city planner up in Loudoun County. I live in Long Street Commons. I have married with two young daughters, so you'll see us running around town from time to time. So I was previously on their Architecture Review Board. Certainly my interest is in trying to, as much as possible, create a quality kind of aesthetic in town and quality of life for the residents. So I enjoy this service. So maybe I'll kick to Ayush real quick.
Sure. My name is Ayush. I live in the right behind the town. I'm blanking on the name at the moment, but I live right behind the town hall. Part of the planning commission, liaison to the ARB for the planning commission. This is my third year serving. My background is in IT, but it's definitely a cool way to learn a lot about the town that you're in and kind of be involved, so that's why I've been involved.
Okay. Recently married?
Ayush is recently married.
And recently married, yes. Yes.
Ayush,
Yes.
this doesn't come off.
Yeah, no, it feels heavy.
All the analogies that can be drawn from that. Thank you. This will start from right to left.
My name is Susie Larson, and I've lived in the town since 2001. My husband is Ken Larson, the mayor, and we have two boys. One is a senior in college, the other one is a sophomore in college. And I was a stay-at-home mom forever and decided to go back to work and work in a daycare with infants. That's it. I mean, and I'm a Steeler fan.
I'm Sheridan King. I have lived in town since 2003. Raised both my kids here. They're about to turn 17 and 20. That's how I know the Lorsons and some other people here. I've been around town for a while. My background is in law and accounting, and I made a career change, and I'm a recruiting manager for a large accounting firm, and I'm excited to be here. Love our town and hoping to have some input on things that happen.
I'm Rochelle Utz. I've been living here in Haymarket since 2015, newly married. I didn't forget that. I live right here on Jefferson, right over the overpass. I have 2 grown daughters. I have some step-grandchildren. I'm assistant teacher at Pace West.
Oh, wow.
Love that. Love working with the special needs. And glad to be here.
It is great to have some new faces. We kind of have the usual suspects around, so it's great to have you guys participate. And so,
Thank you.
so we hope to make it an enjoyable experience. Okay, with that, so the chairmanship, can you walk me through how to tee up the chairman?
The way we did it for planning commission the other night is if we have somebody interested, we can take a motion from the dais. I can always make a motion, and then somebody can do a so moved in a second, and then whoever has the first nomination will take that vote first. If for some reason they didn't get it, but we have a second nomination, we'll take the vote on the second nomination and go from there.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with a nomination. Does anyone have a nomination for chairperson?
I'd like to nominate Sheridan.
Okay,
Okay?
So moved.
so moved.
Okay.
Ayush? Okay, any
Any other nominations?
other nominations? No? Okay.
Okay. We can
Any-
do
Roll call?
a roll call
Or-
vote.
Okay, roll call, the roll call vote is to appoint Sheridan King to the ARB chairman.
Yikes.
And roll call vote is Larson,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Schneider,
Aye.
Utz,
Aye.
Corral.
Aye.
Congratulations, Ms. King.
Thank you.
You are our chairman for the next year. At each July meeting, we take appointment or nominations for a new chair, so you'll be with us till at least then. Okay? Okay.
Do you wait till next month to do a vice chairman?
We can go ahead and do a vice chairman.
Okay.
I think it's a good thought.
Okay.
Normally, just so everybody knows, we'll do a vice chairman just in case our chairman's not able to make the meeting. The vice chair can then call the meeting to order and go through the duties as assigned.
Okay, before we do that, would you like to sit up here, or are you okay sitting right there?
I will sit here today
Okay.
and see how you do it.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Sure. If you don't mind me, I can lead the rest
That
of
would
the
be
meeting?
perfect.
Okay. Great. And then it's the vice chairman, it's kind of like my role tonight since the chairman's not there, and so. Okay. Are there any nominations for vice chairman?
Who wants to do it?
Okay. What's that?
I don't care.
I can.
And
doesn't
we also-
matter.
Liaisons can be a vice chair also.
Spread the wealth.
I would nominate Susie Larson. But
I would second.
What do I say?
You accept?
Thank
Do
Okay.
you accept the nomination?
Sure,
Okay.
yes.
Are there any other nominations? Nope. Seeing none, we can do a roll call vote.
Larson,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Schneider,
Aye.
Utz,
Aye.
Corral.
Okay, wonderful.
Well, that was easy. Okay. So the next order of business under agenda items is zoning permit 2020-12, fence application at 6660 Fayette Street.
So I did send out an updated agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
The updated agenda has additional photos on it. This is one last photo to make the conversation a little bit easier.
Thank you.
I usually can show it to you when we get there. So this is an application for fence structure on Fayette Street. And the applicant is here tonight. It is Tracy Lynn Pater. So does everybody in their agenda, either on their laptop or printed, have these photos at the very end?
I was going to catch up real quick.
Also, a fun thing to know, the laptops are touch screens, so
Yes.
you can scroll, you can zoom in, zoom out, makes it pretty easy there for you.
Let's forget to do that.
Councilman Schneider,
Yes, ma'am.
you have a hard copy.
Oh, I do, okay.
So the applicant is requesting a 6-foot privacy fence. One of the discussions I had with Marchant earlier is a lot of these fence companies call different fencing styles different things, as do we in our guidelines. So you'll see this photo here. It's a board-on-board fence, 6 foot. It would match with the Dogs Day Out property. They too have a fence of this style, as well as right across the street. There are 3 single-family homes that had a fence approved about a year ago that's in a similar style. So I will have the applicant come up and kind of share a little bit more about their project, as well as the photos of the house and where it's going to go in regards to those photos.
Hello, Tracy Lynn Pater, 6660 Fayette Street. So we are needing a fence in our backyard. It would be on the very end of the home, all the way to the back. So it's not in the front part of the home. I do have a shed that was approved by ARB a few years ago that sits offset from the home. So there would be a gate, a custom gate there to hold the dogs in as well. But primarily we have 2 dogs. One is a Great Dane. I have an English Pointer. She's a runner, so it's beyond time. I'm sure people have met my dog and dogs several times.
We first met through your dog.
Exactly, exactly. So again, with support of the ARB with the Doggy Day Out having a 6-foot fence, that would be my request. When my dog stands on his hind legs, if he should ever do that, he is tall.
Ms. Pater, is the idea is that you're not, the shed will still open to the driveway, correct?
Yes.
You're just wanting to put the fence in between?
It'll just be
Flanking
on the
either
very
side?
end of the home.
Okay.
So where the shed, the doors will open, and it would just be where my neighbor has the chain link fence.
Okay.
We're going to take that part out, and it would be replaced with the wooden fence.
And your fence will just be up against her chain link?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
We're going to take the chain link out
Oh, wow.
completely, yeah.
Bonus. Okay.
And then to add on this photo, you said it's going to go behind the AC unit.
Behind the
correct?
AC, so it's literally at the very end of the home.
Okay.
To kind of give you that depth of how far back it goes.
Okay.
And then there would be a gate there to allow for a lawnmower to go into the backyard.
Okay.
Any other questions? Emily?
2 doors or 1?
It would be 2 doors.
Doors on either side of the house, or?
No, on the gate part to allow the lawnmower in?
A double gate on the back
Oh,
side.
on the
Yes,
side of the
where
house.
where the AC
left
unit
side.
is.
Yep.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And then on the side of the shed, between the shed and the home, there would be a custom gate gun because it's a narrow space.
Did you want it arched, or are you just going to match the?
Just match the same line, keep it consistent.
Okay. Without any other questions, Emily, would you mind going through how you approach this so we can?
Give me a second.
Most of the time, people give us a hard time that we're subjective, but we do have some guidance on how we approach
So,
applications.
as a good kind of training for our new members, so if you look at packet page 6, so this is my staff report. You'll see it's a table assessment here. So the very top portion is the application summary. So as you see on the other pages, it's just a quick snapshot off of the application that's submitted. And then I go through each of the zoning ordinance sections that apply to ARB applications. And I give the application details in your middle column, and then I give my staff response. Some of these are very easy, you know, yes, no, or neutral kind of responses. There are some, for example, section 58-14.92, general design arrangement. This is something that I leave up to the ARB. This is not defined in our zoning ordinance, and so it's at the discretion of the ARB if the general design arrangement is consistent with the surrounding area and what the town wishes. But just as you work through it, this is kind of the assessment that I go through when I get an application in. And then at the very bottom of that, you'll also have comprehensive plan items as well as historic guidelines. And after all of that, I give a staff recommendation, and I'll say based on the above assessment, I recommended that the board discuss the height of this fence. Typically, the town does not permit the board-on-board privacy height fences. However, I did recommend that it be discussed because in that general area with the houses across the street, as well as the dog stay out, there have been exceptions made prior for certain reasoning, so helpful to have the applicant here to talk to you guys tonight about why. So I have that recommendation there, and then if the board has any questions, that's when they can ask me. You can always reach out to me prior to the meeting, but we can discuss things here tonight as well as before or with the applicant. And then I always provide a draft motion or an alternative motion, and you're always welcome to ask for a new motion be written, or you guys can come up with your own motion on the board based on what you discussed. So in this particular instance with the draft motion, I did put an option if there should be conditions that should be applied, and then I put in parentheses where you guys would need to add information if that were to be the case.
There's two ways to do it. Sometimes you can make a motion and then have a discussion and ask questions. I think typically we've debated the merits of it before a motion, so we generally know how to put the motion together. Couple of thoughts, maybe I can share and kind of lead the discussion. So if you look in the area, I went and drove out there today, there's fences everywhere. So when we talk about board on board, I guess what I consider a typical board on board is you have boards on both sides of the fence that alternate. So you can see somewhat in between. Why there's been an objection to it, I can't recall why there was a particular objection or why it was in the guidelines, but we see that as a prevalent fence type throughout the town, especially in newer developments. Here, it looks like from the graphic, you're wanting to do not alternating boards on either side, but just a solid screen on one side.
I'm open to either one.
Okay.
In all honesty, we have wonderful neighbors,
Okay.
and ideally, I just don't need the dogs seeing each other. It's pretty much what it is.
Okay.
So I'm open to either fence design. There is a cost difference, so that's why I submitted that one.
Which is the solid one, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in terms of with the
So that one that you're talking about, they what they've referred to me as shadow.
shadow,
So, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
So you've got it on here and it just alternates,
Gotcha.
which would indeed match what we have
Yeah,
around.
and that you can see through. Okay.
Mhm.
Now with this sort of fence, if you have the solid screen, the cross members, the dogs won't, those will face the inside, right? So it'll be the solid, it's usually on one.
Right,
yeah, okay.
right, yeah. So the survey shows that the lot goes literally right down the middle of all those trees.
Okay,
So I would need to concede that the fence line, it would still be my property, but
Mm-hmm.
in talking with the neighbors, that just is the better neighborly thing to do,
Where that tree line is yours, but you would do the fence on the
on my side.
inside of the
Yep,
tree line.
Yep.
nice of you to do. So in terms of, so across the street when you drove out there, the newer residences, you'll notice that out forward of the back of the building, so the back of the structure, forward of that toward the street, it's 4 feet, and back of that was 6 feet. And if I remember, the discussion was trying not to create a compound effect
Right.
where if you bring those fences all the way forward, it kind of has this huge massing. So here I noticed on the shed side, you have the addition in the back, and then you have the main structure. The shed almost comes up flush with the main building.
Right, it's offset, and the
Correct.
front part of the shed is like offset from the very back part of my home.
Correct.
Yeah,
And I think originally I thought it would make sense to have your AC unit inside of that, just to match. I noticed if you go behind the AC unit, now you're going to be from the back of literally from the back of the house.
Right.
You're going to have a fence that's not symmetrical. You're going to have
Right.
one that's farther back. So
Right.
would you prefer to enclose the AC vent, or you just don't want the dogs near the?
no, it was
Okay.
mostly my wife who was like, we'll just keep the AC unit up in the front. So,
Not have it in the backyard,
not have it in the back, but,
have it in front of the fence?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
So you just don't have kids messing with your.
yeah.
If I recall correctly, part of Dog's Day Out being such a tall fence all the way out to the street was because that was a commercial property. And that was trying to screen or separate the commercial from the residential.
Right.
Now it looks kind of ominous when you drive down there, they got that wall there. But hopefully the shrubbery, once it grows, it'll
Right.
come in. So this is a long way of saying, I think having maybe a condition that says no further forward than the front of the main or the back of the main structure gives you flexibility on where you site that fence. And then you just want it down the sides, not all the way around?
Yep,
Okay.
yep,
Would you want it approved all the way around so you don't have to come back?
that would be great.
Okay. So maybe one suggestion is then to approve it with the condition that it extends all the way around.
Yeah.
And then the gates, you said the gates would match the architecture of the main thing. So that would be my suggestions on how to handle it. Any other, Ayush, do you have any comments or suggestions? I wasn't recommending at all. It still stays 6 feet so long as it stays behind,
It's the setback.
the setback, as long as it stays behind the main structure.
And you want the higher height because of the size of your dogs?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So what I took with Emily's report is that 4 feet was, if it was to come any far forward, that it would be
Right.
4 feet to match what's across the street. Cool. Anybody?
If you guys would like, I can give a sample motion just to so you guys can kind of hear what that would sound like. And then if you like it, you can do a so moved. If not, you can discuss how you'd like to change it.
Sure. Objections? Nope.
No objections.
I move the board approve the COA ZP number 2020-012 for a fence at 6660 Fayette Street with the following conditions. The fence may be a 6-foot privacy board-on-board fence along both sides of the property. The fence shall not come in front of the rear of the main structure. On the left-hand side, as you look at the structure, the fence will remain behind the AC unit, and on the right-hand side, a gate will connect the shed with the side fencing. And the applicant may put a fence along the rear property line as well.
Fair
Is
discretion.
that-
Did you also wanted a gate on the left side as well?
on the shed side?
On both sides? Do you want gates on both sides or just the shed side?
No, on both sides.
Both
There would, yeah.
Double gate on the far side and a
Yes.
single
Single
custom
custom on
gate
the-
on
yeah.
the right side.
Yes, yes.
So
Friendly
moved with
amendment.
the addition that a double gate on the left side and a single gate on the right side. Any other amendments or additions? Okay, can we get a second?
Second.
Sorry, who made the motion?
Oh,
Marchant so moved it, and with the addition of a double gate on the left.
Ms. Utz had the second.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, We didn't do a roll call vote on that one, so. Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All righty. So next order of business, item 6 is new business, and this is where Emily will generally outlay for us any new business for the ARB.
So right now, we do not have any new business or applications that are planning to come in over the next month. Typically, this is where I'll tell you what we can expect to see in a couple weeks. I will give an update. We are working on a blight ordinance issue with one of our properties here in town. That is next door to the new wine tasting room. It's 14881 Washington Street. So that actually went in the papers today, and the property owner is being notified via certified letter as well that we need the blight issues to be cleaned up. So I will provide updates on that as we work through it. Additional zoning violations and other blight ordinance violations will come up, and this is kind of where I'll tell you about them. As for that, that's about all for new business. I would say in a couple months, we will be hearing from Van Meter. They recently had an approved SUP for the area of land right across from the wine tasting room. This is kind of that open field area. They're going to put in 38 townhomes in the rear, and then commercial development up in the front, as well as a small school for kind of specialty childcare. So we will be hearing from them. They'll bring in elevations, an entire package plan for the townhomes as well as the commercial portion. They'll also talk to you guys about what they're going to do for the streetscape, matching it up with what we already have, those sorts of items. Typically for those meetings, I like to request that they come in for a work session so we can have more of an informal discussion with the applicant and lay plans out and stuff on the table and really talk about it. So that'll probably be September, I would think. That's about all I have for new business. I do have some old business updates.
No, just, I do need to disclose that my property is adjacent to the Van Meter property, and I do process, my work in Loudoun County processes applications by Van Meter, and just so I will be recusing myself from that discussion. I'll just make that announcement when it comes before the meeting. I'll leave, and then once the new items come up, I'll come back in. But that's just to remove any sort of suggestion of conflict of interest with that application. So, just a heads up about that. Just to expand on, so we do have designated structures that are considered historic in our comp plan. So it's kind of, we see there's 3 designations. There's those that are specifically listed, those that are over 50 years old, and then obviously the third categorization is anything less than 50 is not considered historic. We can go into another time when we start to look at the comp plan, which is old business. I guess we'll talk about it. The planning commission liaison will talk about that. But essentially, one of the Pardo House is listed, I think, as a contributing resource, and it has to do, when you look at it, saying, well, why? It's because it's the style of the time, and to think that it's been over 100 years old and still standing with no one really taking care of it is kind of remarkable. But if you look closely at kind of the building methods that were used and other types of things, there's some value into, if not restoring it, trying to account for the history of it. So we do have a blight ordinance that Emily exhausts all efforts to try to work with an applicant to address that. If that is not a successful exercise, then we have the ability as a council to step in. We have to go through this formal process, and then we've put budgeted monies aside to go ahead and do that work. We'll step in, do that work. It's not to restore it, it's simply to stabilize it so that it can, won't be a public safety issue. The building inspector's involved or no?
Not at
Initially?
this time.
Okay.
If it were more open and accessible, then yes.
Okay. So you can tell that the owner started work on it. They painted the red roof. They started to do work. The plastic, I guess, was to keep the red paint from going everywhere. And unfortunately, we've not been successful in trying to get resolution on that. So once that's done, the council will make the decision to step in use monies to correct it, and then we bill it back to the landowner. So,
To add, just so everybody knows, that was not a overnight process. This is one property that we specifically have worked with the applicant, well, the property owner since about October, if not before. So it's been a long going effort. As Marchant said, we try to use the blight ordinance kind of as a last effort. We try to work with them prior to that and have a friendly conversation. So that's just where we're at with this one.
okay.
I was curious about the red roof. I saw that happen and then.
That was
nothing else.
a beg for forgiveness sort of exercise.
Yeah,
I
that
think.
was an unpermitted action, and the property owner actually came out and saw it herself. She does not live in the area. She's actually usually out of the country, and she stated when she came to visit that she agreed it was a little bright, and she would look to have it repainted, but kind of there in the fall season with some, unfortunate events with her contractor, things have slowed down, and we just weren't getting responses anymore, so.
Thanks for staying on top of it. I think that's all I have. at the
That's
moment.
all I have for new business. As for old business, this is kind of where, if we have previous applications, projects, I'll give updates on that. I will say, it's been a long time coming, but the hotel is looking at pre-construction meetings next month. So I can, provide that update again. I'll keep it in the old business area. Usually I just give verbal updates, but if you guys wish to see anything written, certainly let me know. Mariah's Wine Tasting Room has officially opened. That was another application that came through and was vetted significantly by the ARB, and they worked with us to provide a really great product. So if you haven't been in it, to check it out. The interior is just as beautiful, if not even better than the exterior. They did a really great job there. I'm trying to think of everything else. Oh yes, Cupcake Heaven on Monday just opened up in the Whole Fish House, so that's right back here behind our building. That is the building with the orange roof. It is also a historic listed structure. It is one of the older structures in town, and actually the first mayor and his family lived there. So always a good little story behind that, but she too did a great job. She turned it into her little cafe space with a couple seats, so definitely check that out. That, I believe, is about all I have for old business. We are working on doing some things in the museum to update our displays and hopefully get that back open with a new kind of opportunity for the town. So as we progress with that, I'll keep you updated. I will also offer that anytime you guys want, we have walking tour brochures that I can share. We can always do a walking work session, talk about everything, get to know the properties. Usually it helps the board understand a little bit better the different areas of town and what's on the main road and the coordinating side roads. So certainly let me know. Hopefully the weather will break by September and we can do that in September, October. And that's all I have for old business.
This is kind of an opportunity where you can, things you walk through town and say, what's going on with that? Here's an opportunity for us to be able to, she's always open to answer questions, but anything that's pressing. Today we met with the fairgrounds. The mayor and I met with the fairgrounds representative. I call it the fairgrounds, but it's the property behind Chick-fil-A next to Giuseppe's. On kind of status of their applications. They were approved for commercial in the front, some residential in the back. Trying to think what else. Nothing on Food Lion yet, still.
Actually, that was going to be my question. Anything on Food Lion?
Nothing yet. Right before COVID hit, we did have an interested purchaser who is meeting with the town as well as the property owners to try to discuss an option. But I think once COVID hit, they backed out. So right now, nothing has come up.
What about the trucks that are parking in that lot? Do we know?
To the best I can tell, Food Lion is allowing that. I don't know if they're still moving out some of their fixtures in there,
Okay.
because they know they still had a bunch in there, but that's something I can certainly look into with the property owners.
And then the streetscape seems like it's wrapping up here.
Yes, we've hit a little snafu. They went to put in a stormwater pipe here at our intersection, and the gas line's in the way. So we have to await Columbia Gas to give us proposal to lower the line or somehow move the line so that we can put our stormwater structure in. When I say structure, it's the piece that's about as big as this table that they set down in the ground for the pipes to connect into. So that is currently where we're at. We're waiting. When they do get that bid, it'll probably be one-day lane closures, not the entire intersection like it was. They'll do it intermittently throughout the day. And then once they get that in place, it should be only about a week and a half, 2 weeks of finishing up. So we're getting there, getting close. Hopefully by early to mid-August, we'll be done.
All I had. Any other burning questions about? Now, once people know you on this committee, they're going to ask you all kinds of questions. Why does Marias look like Marias? So we can give you that background.
And it's okay to send them up here to City Hall.
Wasn't me. Talk to Emily. No, I'm kidding.
I do agree, it looks amazing on the inside and out. It's
Yes.
beautiful.
Okay. Ayush, you're up. It's Planning Commission update.
Yeah, so Matthew Carl as chairman for the Planning Commission, and I was also reappointed as liaison to the ARB, as I'm here today. We had a discussion about the comprehensive plan, but I think we kind of basically tabled that to work session so that we can get better updates about it, because I think most of the updates that we had regarding the planning, the comprehensive plan at the moment, at least to now, was a lot of formatting stuff. So we decided that that this is going to, the Planning Commission is going to look at the comprehensive plan more stringently and trying to focus on that as one of our top priorities, because I think the last time it was touched up was 2015. Past that, we also went over the proffer amendment application for 14600 Washington Street, the QBE plot. And regarding that, I think we decided that because the application was pretty much the same as was submitted for the what's it called?
Public hearing?
The hearing. Yeah, the hearing. So regarding that, we decided to let Emily reach out with our concerns that were brought up by the citizens, as well as our own personal concerns, to the applicant, and come back to us with answers, and possibly set up a work session depending on what comes back and how that goes. That was, I think, about the gist of it.
Just a quick, quick way to think about the governance of this committee is we look at the zoning ordinance, we look at the comp plan and the guidelines. Easy way to think about it is the comprehensive plan is the vision, the long use vision, and the zoning ordinance is the rule book on how to make it happen. And in the comp plan, you have areas of town that are designated, like this is our central downtown area, and hopefully we have a zoning district that implements that vision, the walkability, those sorts of things. So it's been a while since we've updated it, so it makes sense to get that done. Just for common examples, like now that the fairgrounds has residential on it, the current designation, planned land use park, planned interchange park, didn't anticipate residential, so obviously you would want to update that to reflect what's out there today. And then the guidelines kind of provide more specificity where there's ambiguity in either the zoning ordinance or ambiguity in the comp plan. The guidelines try to provide more detail, like sign preferences or fence types and those types of things. So, okay. Sorry, this is the city planner coming out of me. Sorry. Town council update. I missed the last council. I was out of town. Emily, would you mind giving us kind of the cheat sheet of
Yes.
What
Give
happened?
me 1 second. Let me pull up a cheat sheet. Is it July? Okay. So, at our July meeting, of course, we welcomed our new mayor and new council members to council. So, we have, of course, Mayor Ken Lorson, Joe Passanello, Bob Weir, Tracy Lynn Pater. Tracy Lynn is our vice mayor. Marchant Schneider is our ARB liaison. Bob Weir is our planning commission liaison. And then we have returning members Chris Morris and Steve Shannon. So we did that. We had a brief work session before the meeting to kind of go over an orientation and get the administrative portions of it down. We also had agenda items to discuss the Prince William County resolution for the Route 15 and the railroad track project. So this is something that they'll bring up at the August meeting, but it's just a resolution of support to send over to Prince William County for their application for funding to put a bridge over top of the railroad tracks here that are on Route 15. We had our board and commission appointments. We also had planning commission vacancy and ARB vacancy spots, so we did additional appointments for the boards and the commission. We did talk about Haymarket Day in our events. The council has decided to cancel all events for this calendar year, and hopefully we can bring some smaller events that'll meet more of the COVID guidelines to the community later on in the springtime. We discussed several of the police items, including the Laney detail. We discussed the public body payment and the CARES Act funding, and that was about it. There's probably a lot more detail, but if you have questions, I would defer that to our town manager, Chris, or even our mayor, Ken. But they'd be happy to answer.
So in terms of the liaison role, what I understand it to be is more of, when we do have some input in the annual budget, so I help coordinate, relay our recommendations. If we have questions about current business beyond ability, obviously Emily has the ability to convey those sorts of questions and concerns. But I also report out at the town council meetings what we're discussing, kind of similar to how Ayush has reported out tonight. I'll report those back. So it's kind of a way to ensure that issues that we discuss are at the forefront, or at least familiar, the council's familiar with it. Most of us listen to these meetings anyway, but it's just kind of a formal way to send messages up through the council. Sorry. So, okay. Any other, before we wrap up, any other burning questions? Things you just got to know? Things that come up while we've been discussing?
No?
So,
No.
Okay. Well, congratulations,
Thank you.
Chairwoman and Vice Chairwoman. And so Emily will coordinate with you next month. The packets come out.
The packets, we're trying to put everything out 1 week prior. You'll get it to your town email now that you guys have access to that. If you have any questions, feel free to call me anytime. I know, like with Marchant, we usually the day of or the day before, he'll either pop in or we have a phone call. So ask away. If you think that there's more information that would help you make a decision or help your discussion points, let me know. I can do additional research for you. I always encourage that when you get the packet and you see the applications, if you want to do a little drive or walk by and just see the property, that way you can kind of get to know the neighborhood of what's around the vicinity of the structure and discussion. And then, of course, we'll get more in depth on all the historic structures and what that means for our town and kind of how we go forward with some fun projects that the ARB can do, like maybe bringing in a Love Works sign that's unique to our town, not just a simple one, as well as kind of growing our walking tour and some of those fun projects. So that's all I have.
And so with those ideas or things that you'd like to see, we can go ahead and add them as agenda items. We can coordinate through yourself and through the vice chairman, through Emily, to have those added. Just as a reminder on email, do we have to do FOIA training at some point?
I will get back to you
Okay.
on that, but I'm sure your reminder will be.
No, I'm just thinking the rule of thumb is to remember is that when Emily sends the agendas out, it's one thing to ask questions. Like generally, you go BCC to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, we just got to be mindful that we not debate the merits of a case over email. Obviously, questions, if someone was to FOIA us the questions are fine, because usually what Emily will do is if there's a question, she'll relay that, hey, I got questions about X, Y, and Z, so it becomes part of the record. But just we want to be careful that we don't begin to debate the merits of a case over email. So that's generally why what the BCC keeps us from getting bad habits.
Yep.
So, okay. Okay, well, with that, I'm excited to meet you all. I'm excited to have some new ideas and some new blood. And
One last thing, I would request that at our next meeting, if you guys are willing to come prepared to take a photo for our website, or if you already have one that you want to submit, feel free to do so. Because I'd love to update the website with names and photos, so as people click, they know who they're talking to or who's at the meeting. So that's my only thing.
okay, one more caveat. The bylaws at this council meeting next month, we're going to adopt the ARB bylaws. The bylaws generally outline how we evaluate applications, kind of our officers, how we hold elections, kind of the mechanics of how the committee operates. Council needs to be able to review and adopt those simply because they appoint the ARB. We also, some people can appeal our decisions to the council, so they kind of review it, what they call de novo, review things de novo. And so the commission, the board, or the council would need to know how we evaluated those applications, and that's what the bylaws do. So those will be adopted next month. Okay, without anything else, I will go ahead and make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second? Okay, that was a motion to adjourn. You had a second?
Second.
Okay. That was Ayush for the motion and Rochelle for the second. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 None opposed. Thanks, everybody. Nice to meet you all.